the Hall of Fame.
Why does college have an apple?
Well, it was his
Have we
gimmick.
spoken about? Don't really know what
Apples.
fruit comes from the Caribbean. It doesn't strike me a cantaloupe. Give him a cantaloupe.
Welcome to the Hall of Fame. Gordon Soley, the commentator, goes in. He was a brilliant commentator, very smooth, very, very sweet. He was famous especially because he's the only person who didn't pronounce the word suplex as suplex.
Oh, suplex.
Suplex.
Oh, that's him.
Yes.
You've spoken very warmly about that.
Yeah, he's
before.
very good. He's very good. Eddie Graham, who was a wrestler and a promoter down in Florida.
Yes.
His son Mike comes out to accept it because he has passed on. Mae Young. And they show a picture of Mae Young when she is a young woman, and she is a knockout. She's brilliant when they bring her out onto the stage as well.
She tries to strip.
She does it brilliantly. She's just moving in a funny way where she's really sort of like, yay, cheering the crowd
and
up.
Eddie Graham is like trying to stop her strip.
Yeah, magic.
Fantastic.
Absolutely magic. She is, even at this point in 2008, my ideal woman. I think she's absolutely brilliant fun. Then you get Soul Man Rocky Johnson and High Chief Peter Maivia.
Right.
He is the father of The Rock, and the High Chief Peter Maivia is the grandfather of The Rock.
Yes.
There's a little bit where they show Peter Maivia's daughter, who is The Rock's mum. She says, "My father was a loving, generous man." And there's a very famous story about Peter Maivia and a British wrestler called Billy Robinson. And that's that Peter Maivia tried to bite out Billy Robinson's eye during a fight in Japan. And I had a look into this, and Billy Robinson denies it. And it's never quite been corroborated. But Peter Maivia, his family say what happened is they got into a fight in Japan, and it was because Billy Robinson took the mick out of Peter Maivia for eating food with his fingers.
Yeah.
He's a big Samoan, and they'd ended up having a massive fight. And Billy Robinson had been thrown through a plate glass window. There's a part of me that sort of goes, how would it go from plate glass window to you tried to bite his eye out? So Billy Robinson talked about it as well. And he also has a slightly different version, but I do like this version because this is a strange world to live in. Peter was a little wild when he had a few drinks. We were in the south of Japan in an area where not too many people spoke English. Peter got impatient and started to act up, which was making things worse, and nobody was getting served at the bar. I told him to grow up and shut up so we could all get served, which he did, but Peter being Peter, it played on his mind. On the way back to the hotel, Peter for some reason wanted to fight me and started throwing punches. I grabbed him and held him so he couldn't do any real damage, but he bit through my cheek. When I saw the blood, I got angry and I knocked him out. He was unconscious for 25 minutes. I had to go to hospital to get a shot for the bacteria. A couple of days later, we were good friends again. As for this eye story, listen, I had an operation on my right eye when I was 11 years old. Peter didn't have the ability as a street fighter to get close to my eyes. The reason I got bitten was because I didn't want to hurt Peter. But over the years, stories get exaggerated. So Billy Robinson says Peter Maivia could not have bitten his eye because he was not good enough to bite his eye. Although Peter Maivia did manage to bite his cheek very badly, yeah. So that is, as his daughter says, I mean, he was a loving, generous man. Amazing story. Then we get final Hall of Fame inductee, who is Ric Flair. He cries non-stop during his speech, and it's one of the great Hall of Fame speeches. He's so good as a speaker. He's done it all, and he's so emotional. Yep. And all of those things came together so brilliantly. In the crowd are his kids. He's got Charlotte, who would go on to have a stellar career, just won the Royal Rumble, and his son Reed as well. Now, Reed was the Flair that Rick thought would continue his legacy. It's amazing that the person sort of sitting there he didn't realise would be the biggest star is too along. But his son Reed, he died tragically of a heroin and a prescription tranquilizer overdose in 2013.
Right.
Absolutely devastating Flair, obviously. This is one of those things as well, which is WWE has there's something about it that they can't stop going for those little buttons. And so 2 years later, there was an angle where Charlotte was facing Paige at Survivor Series, and they did a contract signing. And Charlotte said she was going to win this match as a tribute to her brother Reed. At which point, Paige mocked her by saying, "Your little baby brother, he didn't have much fight in him, did he?" Now, it was later revealed that WWE had not cleared that with the Flair family at all.
Right.
And they didn't ask permission, and there was no prior warning. So it is mad. Whoever is responsible for doing that sort of thing, that they just see these people as being, I don't know, like action figures. This is one of the hardest things to get your head around with wrestling when they do stuff like that, where it's sort of all very well for us to be laughing about wrestlers, ha ha ha, but we don't know them. Imagine that these are family members of people that you work with, and you're just like, it'll be great, and she'll say
it's a very small world.
It's mad. And I mean, you're looking at someone who died, 2 years before?
Yeah.
It's not like a historic thing that you're sort of like, there'll be no one to get upset about that. It's just mad. Again, how did that make money for the WWE? Well, more people going, I will now watch that match.
Yeah.
Now I've seen that. It's just so mad. Just so fucking tone deaf. It's untrue.
Yeah.
And then finally, we get to the main event.
Yeah.
The Undertaker versus the world champion Edge. I had a read about the Undertaker. I was trying to find out something about him that I'd not known before. And in 1999, he introduced movies on the Sci-Fi Channel for 3 nights.
What?
Yeah.
Cool.
And his introduction for the series was, I am the Undertaker, and beginning March 15th, I will take control of the Sci-Fi Channel, presenting my Theatre of Doom. For 4 nights, I will present the movies that accurately reflect the dark visions that I possess. Those films: Army of Darkness, Tales from the Crypt, The Terminator, and Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Indiana Jones!
Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom explores concepts that few mortals have ever considered, and even fewer have dared to explore.
A big boulder.
Perhaps
rolling down a
after
hill.
watching these films, you can truly understand the world I live in. But heed this warning. Once you taste the darkness, you may never want to turn away.
Putting your hand in a hole you think is a switch, but a spider gets on your hand.
I'm going to put your hand in this. I'm going to say it's brains, but with jelly. Indiana Jones and the Temple of Doom.
Putting on the Ritz.
Literally a children's film. Amazing.
A little boy who puts little bricks on his feet so he can drive a car. Temple of Doom? I can't remember.
I just love that. I don't know, maybe they asked him what films he wanted and they'd already written those bits around. I thought we were going to say Texas Chainsaw Massacre. No, I want to see The Terminator.
Flight of the Navigator.
Mac and Me. And Short Circuit 2. Not Short Circuit 1. I don't like that one.
The greatest corruption we face in the present is often a perceived savior of days past. The only certainty about the future is that one day it will come to an end.
Interesting match. It really picks up as it goes on. The crowd are very quiet in quite a lot of it in the early stages.
But it's one of the best main events I've seen, isn't it?
Yeah, you're getting to a point where people are actually... You get people like Edge, who... Edge was at WrestleMania 6 as a fan, and now he's main eventing WrestleMania.
Yeah.
These things mean a lot to these performers doing these main events of WrestleMania. You are the number one person in your business. And they do take it very seriously. You can see that in the matches that they deliver.
Yeah.
The quality is really watchable. It's really, really easy to watch. Edge, still a strange name. He called himself the Edge after he was driving through Canada and there was a radio station called The Edge. And he was like, I like that, so I'm going to call myself The Edge.
He could have been called BRMB.
Yes. I'm Classic FM.
Classic Fighting Male, that would be perfect.
Yes,
I'm a Classic Fighting Man.
It's like Razor Ramon HG, Razor Ramon Hard Gay, the Japanese guy. I like the initials, can stand for anything. Oh, I love Razor Ramon HG. Oh, yeah. Hard Gay. Edge is one of those guys who he had a career that was truncated by injury. So he would only have 2 years left wrestling before he had to retire.
It's fascinating because he doesn't look that old there.
No, and he's gone for 9 years until he comes back at the Royal Rumble. Edge doesn't have a special entrance at this WrestleMania.
Right.
And he had said, we talked about having a band play me in. He said, but I was always a heel, and I believe that a heel shouldn't have a badass band playing them to the ring because you're going to cheer that. It's cool. He says, I don't know, I see Triple H going out and high-fiving with Lemmy and Motorhead, and I go, well, what's there to hate? If you're a heel, to me, you do everything within your power to be a heel. Little bit of a fuck you to Triple H there. The boss going, you weren't very good at this. You made a mistake there. But they have this long walk in.
It's a long route, and that obviously comes up later on. But
that's the one good part of it, is that the little bit where they have no referee, and Charles Robinson has to run the length of it.
And he runs as fast as he can.
He does, and it makes it so exciting.
It's fraught with danger because at any point you could trip over.
Yeah, and
because
he slides into that ring and he counts, and it's 1, the 2, and Edge kicks out because he's had to run so far. It's a really good use of that obviously problematic long entranceway. Undertaker in this it's not his best performance. The match is good. I really enjoyed the match.
Yeah.
But he's got on his throat, he's broke up with his wife Sarah in 2007, and he'd previously had Sarah tattooed across his throat. And you can see they've begun the process of
lasering.
That must hurt right in your throat. Every food, all the food you eat is hot, even though it's not been cooked. Just
Well, he rocks up and he's dressed. I don't think I've ever seen him dressed like that, like a leather tabard.
Yeah.
The last time I saw that, a man was hosing down some industrial trays at a Melton Mowbray sandwich factory.
It does,
and then he went on to sort of said, "Female orgasm." I mean, in about this doing some really bad stand-up. He's hosing down this sandwich tray. Female orgasm. As long as I've spread my muck, I don't care. That kind of just says salt of the earth man in a leather tabard. So yeah, that's what that reminded me of.
I can see why that image would stay with you.
As long as I've spread my muck, I don't give a fuck. Thank you, I'm 18.
At this point, of course, the thing we're all worried about with the divorce between the Undertaker and his wife Sarah is what will happen to the Zeus Compton Callaway Save the Animals Fund at the Texas College of Veterinary Medicine and Biomedical Sciences. And that, of course, was to help pay for life-saving treatments for large breed dogs. I presume that means that the Undertaker and his wife Sarah had a dog called Zeus Compton Callaway at some point, and unfortunately it died.
Oh no.
A little insight there.
I don't like this part.
He does a terrible hip attack. I don't know whether Edge just forgot to fight back or something.
Right.
There's a point where Undertaker just barrels into the corner and he sort of jumps as high as he can to go over the top rope. And Edge hasn't done a thing.
No.
And he goes out and he's like, oh, that was a disaster. And they very obviously don't show a replay of it. Right. But they go, Undertaker there, right out of the ring. And it lasts for a long time and he's on the floor. And you're absolutely waiting for it to go shh. Yeah. Like that. Nope, not at all.
Didn't enjoy it.
That looked shit, mate. It's as bad a move as you'll ever see.
I think the referee, because every time a big move happens, the referee obviously comes over to check if they're all right. But the guy comes over and goes, Are you fucking joking? Are you fucking joking?
Hey,
Temple of Doom again.
Hey, Mark. Don't worry about it. It's only the main event of fucking wrestling.
You wanted this, you fucking lanky streak of
I can see why last year you and Batista were put up 4. Anyway, get up and fucking make the best of it, you twat. Yeah, the crowd do really get into it. Edge looks like he's going to cheat his way to victory, and they are really pushing the streak here. So there's a nice bit where they shout, the Undertaker, the challenger, showing life. Literally the one thing he doesn't. He is a dead man. And it ends quite flatly with Undertaker's submission move, the Hell's Gate. This is a move that never got over. And it's basically Undertaker was into MMA, and always sort of thought I could have been an MMA fighter. I could have been. Famously in MMA, tall people don't do very well,
no,
because they tend to be quite
slow and languid,
and they're you can hit them on the chin. And he did this move, and I think it was brought in because he couldn't do his tombstone pile driver to people like Carly or Umaga and things like that. So they were like, "Oh, we'll give him a submission move."
I would bloody love to see him do that to Carly.
Oh my God.
And break his neck.
Just 2 feet sticking out of the floor, like upright, like a cartoon, except the man underneath is dead. But Jesus Christ, that finishing move, it never got over.
No.
And when you use it to end WrestleMania, with someone who he could do all those moves to, and actually did in the course of the match, when you use it to end WrestleMania, and WrestleMania sort of just ends on a bit of a flat note.
Yeah.
It's impossible to not go, oh, that's a disaster. That is a disaster. It's a really, really good match otherwise. Couple of just little bits that come out of it is Edge talked about, he said it's the pinnacle of his career. You're main eventing WrestleMania against The Undertaker. That is the top. He said, but there were a lot of moments that were just as rewarding. He said, he's hedging his bets. I think he's got that thing of WrestleMania main event. That's what everyone goes for. It's against the Undertaker.
Yeah.
But I imagine he's a bit like, it wasn't much fun.
Well,
yeah,
it was a good clean match. There was they didn't.
There is a little bit where Edge said WrestleMania 24. So after this match, it was the only time he swapped gear with a fellow worker. So a bit like swapping your football charts.
Oh, right, okay.
So he exchanged his kick pads and tights for a pair of Undertaker's gloves. Edge said that deal was pretty cool. He said, and I was glad I got that memory. Now, he got done over on that one, didn't he, right? So Undertaker has got a lot more stuff.
Yeah.
Right?
Mind you, those gloves are probably quite expensive because they are...
Yeah, but Edge's kick pads and tights, right? What
are kick pads? Are they
kick pads are those sort of big foam things.
Oh, yeah. Like
they're custom made.
Yeah.
Right. And B, to have the whole set of like the WrestleMania main event costumes.
Yes.
Undertaker's just got another pair of gloves. I'll buy another pair of gloves. Edge got absolutely fucked over on that one. That's, that is, you lose twice, don't you? You lose the main event and then you lose in the swapping. I'll give you my tights and my kick pads. I thought you might like it. Yeah, you can have one glove. Oh. Great.
I thought I could have a motorbike.
I thought we...
You're going to give me a because you're...
Can I have your Sarah tattoo that's half lasered off?
Your ex-wife.
Can I have that money that you put towards big dogs that are sick? Why are you doing this, man? We just did a really nice WrestleMania main event. Why are you doing this?
You
gave me 2 gloves.
You should want the dogs to die because you're the dead man. You can be a dead dog, dead man with dead dogs.
Do you live underground in Hades?
Look, give me some worms at least. Give me some fucking worms.
Anything goes.